There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace, the word is chill.
Hello there guys, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Guys, the Ursa Major wave has finally dropped in the UK. I got a giant man bear with a minigun. That's a pretty good week as far as toy collecting goes. The minigun, of course, is courtesy of the Hot Toys T800, but I thought for posing purposes, it just looks so cool. But is the rest of the wave cool? That is what we're going to find out. But first, I just want to say a big shout out to a buddy of mine who pointed out to me, you know what, Dave, with your hair and beard like that, you're kind of a dead ringer for the animated What If Doctor Strange. And I was like, yeah, I can see that. That's my Comic-Con costume sorted. And I gotta say though, to be fair, if I was able to take all the magical powers from all the different realities in the world and become the world's greatest sorcerer, I would just use them to thicken up my hairline a little bit. That's the only thing where the two images don't look quite the same. But besides that, yeah, I kind of dig that. I'll take that Doctor Strange comparison. Also, guys, I keep forgetting to do the plugs at the end of the video. So if you want to be a part of the Model Behaviour community, then we got a Facebook, we got a Discord, we got an Instagram, all the links to which are in the description below. So go and check those out and be a part of the conversation, especially the Facebook, actually. I'm really enjoying that. People are posting lots of pictures and having good comments and conversations, and it's a good time. So go check that out. But in the meantime, we have got the Ursa Major wave to talk about, and there's a lot to unpack here. Let's just start. I'm just going to grab my first random figure, and then we're going to talk about it. So just here we go. A dubious one to begin with. Hologram Iron Man. I got thoughts. My main thoughts are, boy, they just wanted to fill out this wave, didn't they? Oh, it's such a shame. I was hoping that I would kind of be won over by it because it's translucent, it's pretty, the light shines through, that's cool, but also this is based on an MCU buck. I think maybe it might be Civil War, I'm not entirely sure because I'm not an MCU guy, but he feels just kind of awkward. I think obviously it's just the Iron Man design. These boot ankles, they're like super duper stiff, really hard to move around, and there's no rocker on them or anything, so he can't really stand particularly dynamically. But then why would he stand dynamically? Because he's just an AI or a hologram representation of Tony Stark, so it's not like he's going to be fighting or anything. He's just kind of standing there like, I don't need him. We don't need you. I'm sorry, but we don't need Holo Iron Man. But of course you do need him if you want to build the bath, and I know that's the game we play, but giving out about it is also part of the game. It's all part of life's great circle. So I don't really care for this at all. He comes with a couple of fisted hands as well, but I'm not even sure if I'm going to bother selling him because, like, who's going to buy a standalone Holo Iron Man? This is going to be warming pegs from East Coast to West Coast. I was trying to come up with a better expression, but no, there you go. A Holo Iron Man. Any kid who gets this under their Christmas tree is going to be like, what? Seriously? Holo Iron Man? I mean, thank you and happy Christmas, but seriously? So yeah, I don't really have much love for this. The articulation is kind of average. You know me, I'm not a big articulation discussion type guy, but there's not really much. His arms don't go up any further than that. As I said, the ankles don't have the rocker, they just have the pivot, I think. Yeah, I'm not being unfair. There's really just not much you can do. He's just a translucent block of plastic and definitely the weakest of the wave. So let's hope it goes better from here. You know what? It is. There you go. You see, things are looking up already. Hang on a second, let me put my cap back on. I feel naked without it. There we go. All is right with the world. We got a good one now. Stealth Iron Man. And this was a genuine surprise. I was not expecting this guy to actually rock my world at all. In fact, if you just asked me which figure I would probably least anticipate as being anything worthwhile, I would have probably said Stealth Iron Man. It's like, wait, so this is just the 80th Iron Man in black. So it's the 80th Iron Man, but less interesting. Yay. Captain Sarcasm over here. But then I got him in hand, and oh my goodness, this paint job is beautiful. It's so sexy. It's not just black, obviously. It's this blacky blue, oily. It's oily. It's kind of a chrome, slick kind of image. It really really rocks. I dig this. And there you go, you're getting Happy Dave as well, because also it's a surprise. It's all about anticipation with anything. If you anticipate something too much, it will be a letdown. If you think it's going to suck, then actually you can be pleasantly surprised. This is a real pleasant surprise. So it's everything you would expect from the 80th Iron Man. I'm glancing down at the accessories. You also get the very, very nice unmasked Tony head here as well. So I'll do a little swapperoo so we can see the unmasked Tony head on here. It's as you would expect. It's stiff to get on there. There we go. So it's very much the 1980s Tony Stark. So before we kind of have the Robert Downey image in our mind of how Tony should look, it was always the pencil moustache. This is Demon in a Bottle Tony Stark. This is Armor Wars Tony Stark. This is great. A really, really good figure. Nice articulation as well. He's got the ankle rockers and the ankle pivot. You hear that, Holo Iron Man? This is how it should be done. So I was going to say if you don't have the 80th Iron Man, but even if you do have the 80th Iron Man, if you like your Iron Man, this is a really good Iron Man. Well done, Hasbro. Well done. Now let's bring it down. Way down. Again, talking about anticipation and disappointment. The Guardsman. Guardsman, what am I going to do with you? He feels really gummy. First of all, obviously this gun is not his gun. I pilfered this gun from Nick Fury. Because let me show you, alright? First of all, the gun he has, this has been used plenty of times. It's a very common gun that they throw in. But actually, he can't really hold it very, very well. The way his hands grip, his left hand, it looks like his right hand, if you will. His right hand seems to hold that relatively straight, but his left hand, which is what I wanted to pose it with it doesn't sit straight in his hand. It like arcs out to the side. So maybe that's just the plastic molding the way that I got it, but it just doesn't look good. And also, like, you're dealing with the most hardened, powerful criminals in the world. This ain't the ultimate nullifier, guys. This is just a pew pew. Like, the rhino's gonna laugh at you before he squishes your head like a grape. So absolutely, he needs some better firepower. But then also, unfortunately, sadly, this figure feels really gummy. It feels very plasticky. It doesn't feel like it's worth much, to be honest. It feels like cheap plastic, cheaply put together. And speaking of which, and again, I know this varies, and I've normally been pretty lucky with my QC and quality control, but the hip swivel on this, it feels like it's going to break off at any moment. You can see a huge big gap in the thigh. Sorry, thigh swivel, not hip swivel. There's a big old gap between the two pieces. It just feels like it's hanging on by a thread. It doesn't fill me with confidence. And also, in a lot of the joints, especially under the arms, there was a load of extra plastic that hadn't come off in the mold. I had to get an X-Acto knife and sort of cut that away, because also it was restricting his movement, and then other pieces of plastic were bending when I was trying to get it into place before realizing that there was something blocking it. So that wasn't good. And then while I'm giving out about this, there's also these very subtle paint apps, which you think at a glance are quite nice. He's got the darker green band around the arm, the gloves are a different color, but then actually there's a lot of kind of paint rub, and yeah, there's paint chipped away on the arm here. It's a shame. It feels rushed. It doesn't feel good, and that's a real disappointment, because this is a 90s figure. It's a 90s character. I was psyched for this. I was even tempted to buy two, because it kind of makes sense to have at least two Guardsmen together, but nah, I'm not going to buy this again. What's going for him? What he's got good about him? I like the helmet design. The helmet design looks cool, with the eyes kind of sunken in there with a bit of an expression. That looks pretty decent. So I like the head, the helmet. But besides that, there's not a whole heck of a lot going for him. The green stands out, that pops on the shelf, so that's nice, but ultimately, Guardsman is a bit of a disappointment. Alright, let's bring things back up a little bit now with Ultron. Ultron is just what he needs to be. So guys, well done, you did it. This is a nice figure. He's good, but he's not great. He fits the bill for retro Ultron. Originally, I was quite disappointed that he wasn't on a bigger you know what I mean, a bigger buck, a bigger body. But really, looking at the original Ultron designs in the comics, he wasn't a huge, big, towering monster. He was just taller than your average Joe. So I get it, that's fine. And Hasbro are like, whew, see, yes, we have precedent for making a smaller figure. Would I love a bigger, bulkier, scarier Ultron? Yes, of course I would. But for what we have here, he's actually very comic accurate, and that counts a lot in my book. So the big thing that makes it so stand out is the Kirby Crackle. That was a really good idea, because without this in his mouth, he would look very, very plain. Just a silver dude. There's not really much to him. But the Kirby Crackle just adds an extra effect that just resonates and glows out, and that makes a big, big difference. Then the rest of the design is just fun. Really retro helmet, the spikes. It's classic Ultron. Would I love a big, chunky Build-A-Figure Ultron, or a deluxe version from like the Age of Ultron type design where he's got multiple arms and he's this terrifying techno nightmare? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Are we going to see him? Maybe not. But in the meantime, as a classic Avengers villain to go with my classic Avengers villains, yeah, he fits right in. So with the nice torso swivel as well, like this feels like a modern figure. And that's what I want. No old reuse, but new stuff. And that counts for a lot. I dig Ultron. Never want to stay too happy for too long. I will show you Darkstar. And Darkstar, it's fine, I guess, but also at the same time, it's really not as well. So the head is one that really gets me, because I love the yellow eyes and the detail of the paint there. I think it's really well done. And actually, I think that the color of the skin, the lips, the eyebrows, it's such a shame that all of this work and detail has gone into such a boring face. That's the problem I have. There's a lot of really nice work here that was just done, sculpted in a style that's like, let's make this character look as bored as possible. That's really bad, actually. The more I talk about it, you have one job. You're making action figures of comic book characters, not mannequins. Whoever sculpted this, like, you are clearly a talented dude. You can sculpt a human face and make it look like a really realistic human face with these parameters and scale and pricing and whatnot. This is really good. So why make it so bored? So bored. Like, what is she doing? Is she even posing for a school picture? You would look more excited than this. Such a shame. And she's got the same reused hands that we've had a bajillion times, but unfortunately this inhuman looking position implies that you're doing something. This is a doing hand. You're casting a spell. You're using magic. And she's not even washing the dishes. This is a dishwashing pose here. Just to put her hands in front of her like little kitchen diorama. She's washing dishes. That's it. And that's not a sexist thing. That's just, this is the expression I would have if I was washing dishes. She could also be a Formula 1 driver. I don't know. You can't tell because that face tells nothing. Whew, I'm getting hot about this. So also it has the same problem that so many long head characters have, where the hair means that you're not moving this head. Obviously you can move it, but what are you going to do? Like have that looks good. Yeah, let's go with that. No, because of the way that the hair is sculpted to go over the shoulder and rest like that, you're only having her looking forwards unless you're going to have her looking totally stupid. So that's just kind of a shame. She's just standing there. So she's going to be with the Winter Guard, but she's not going to be very excited about it. And I got to say, I'm not very excited about her. So let's bring things up a little bit now. This is such a mixed bag, this wave. It really, really is. We have Modular Iron Man. And this is one that, again, like, I'm a little bit disappointed because I was so looking forward to it. And what disappointed me was, again, like, a bit of a QC thing maybe. The hips are super loose. Like, straight out of the packaging. When I buy a brand new figure, I expect some nice stiff joints, you know? But here, he's got wobble. Like, fresh out of the box, and I can feel a wobble in the hips. He doesn't feel strong to stand up, and that is such a shame. But don't worry, though. They've compensated by making his right shoulder almost impossible to move. So, no, I can't... that's really frustrating. Like his right shoulder, I'd go so far as to say it's busted. That's a real disappointment. So it's funny because the left shoulder moves fine. You can see the movement there. But the right shoulder, it seems as though the red shoulder pad is kind of getting caught or just hugging too closely, or it's getting warped when I try and move it. And if I try and force it, it'll just force the bicep and pull that out of proportion. So that's a real disappointment. And that's just fresh out of the box. Also, his neck is super stiff as well, so that it's like, is it too loose or too stiff? There's no consistency, so that's a real shame. He still looks good, like he still looks like 90s modular Iron Man, like you would like, but I'm tired of getting excited about figures and spending my hard-earned money on figures, and believe me, it's hard-earned. And then getting them and being like, it's kind of what I want, I guess. So it's a shame. It's not bad, but I think just because I maybe, like, luck of the draw, I didn't get the best version of this figure, that makes it disappointing. Because the other stuff is good, the ab crunch is good, the very 90s Iron Man cartoon design, that's great, but you can see I'm struggling to get as happy about it as I would want to, because I want to be happy about this, but instead I'm like, you'll go on my 90s shelf, and that's really cool to have that there, but ultimately, I'm left a little bit disappointed. And finally, for the main wave, we have Rubi Williams, and thank goodness Riri coming in for the save at the end here. A really excellent figure, a character who I'm very fond of. I like what they've done with her. I read her initial appearances and I was like, okay, I see that you're going for that Marvel diversity sort of initiative that they're going for, which I really like. I love the fact that we're getting this more varied cast of characters from different ethnicities and backgrounds and upbringings. I really dig that, so I like what they've done here with this kind of legacy sort of character. Now, of course, this is designed for a second release where she's going to be in her updated modern armor, because this is the Iron Man armor that is just lifted straight from Tony Stark. She eventually personalizes her own armor, which is much more in keeping with her style. But don't worry, I'll buy that too. But still, what we have here, really the main feature, I think, is the Rubi Williams head, which I think is excellent. And it's so funny that you could argue she has a very plain expression, and Darkstar has a very plain expression, yet this one seems to just have that X factor of character where it looks like she's at least thinking about something, like she's setting off this repulsor blast and like she's got a sense of determinism, whereas this just looks dead-eyed. It's so funny. They're both blank-ish type expressions, but you can tell, like, tell me I'm not mad here. There's more going on in these eyes than these eyes, but it is what it is. So the face sculpt I think is excellent, but don't sleep on the helmet. I love this helmet design with the angles, the more angular, triangular, angular spangular, angular bangular. Shall I say angular one more time? Nah. It looks really nice. I dig this. So with or without the helmet on, I think this is a great looking figure. The smoke effects coming from the blast, I'm not actually a big fan of those. I feel like Iron Man repulsors are very sort of ionic energy. Like there shouldn't be smoke, I wouldn't have thought, because it's not like carbon fueled or anything. So I might do without these, but just the standalone blasts, I think they look great. Then the body sculpt itself, I don't know if it's been reused from anything. I don't know if there's like a rescue armor or anything that looks like this. I don't think so. I'm assuming it's new. And with that in mind, they've done a really great job here. I love the different accents of the grey, the blue arc reactor type image here. It suits, it's great. I think this is probably my favourite figure in the wave, and that's very surprising considering what the wave was initially looking like. I'm thinking that Riri might be my favourite, but still, she holds up excellently. Yeah, definitely a highlight. And the Build-A-Figure himself, Ursa Major. Okay, I'm going to take the gun off, even though it pains me to do so because it's just so much fun having it on there. But Ursa Major is a funny old one because he doesn't have much in the way of posability, I don't find. I mean, the arms can go up and down, which is, great. So you can have him in sort of beary, rah kind of poses. But then really that's about it. You've got torso swivel, but not much up and down. And a real shame is that the head isn't on any kind of up and down ratchet. So you can rotate it, like that. But that's about it. It would be nice if you could move his head up and down. I feel that that's lacking, and that's a bit of a shame, to be honest. But then the rest of the actual body, this is a good, big, heavy, hefty, chunky sculpt. So that's great. That's what we want for our builder figures. And the fur does have some extra shading. It's not all just brown plastic. There are some darker areas around the musculature there. It looks like the fur is actually thicker and deeper where the muscles go in. So that in itself is really nice. And the bear expression, when I was doing the unboxing with Juanita, she was like, I don't like the fact it hasn't got eyes. Where are its pupils? That's not right. I don't like that. But I think it does look very cool. He looks cool and scary, badass, big. Oh, finally, I can actually say, radioactive special claws. The special claws are great. Unfortunately, when you articulate the hand, like you can see the pivot comes through here. So it's a bit of a shame that sort of sticks up where you move the hand. So you kind of want to have the hand straight, really. But the rest of it, I'm not mad about this. Going in the Winter Guard kind of set with Crimson Dynamo, even though I know that's not the right Crimson Dynamo armor for the set, but come on, we can fudge it. And then with Darkstar and who else we're having in the Winter Guard? There's 4, isn't there? Dynamo, Darkstar, Ursa Major, Red Guardian. There you go. Whew, just remembered. Those 4 together look really, really fun. So I like this guy, but I don't love him. He's kind of on that Zemnu level, where it's a funky looking character. Nice and big and bold, but I don't have any affection for the character, so it is what it is. But still, I think I kind of dig him, so he's a good addition to the set. And again, as you can see, with the arms out, big, wide bear pose, he does look menacing and aggressive. And hey, I was talking about plain, boring expressions. We don't have that problem with this guy. Big gnashing teeth, special claws. Yeah, the more I look at him, actually, you know what? I'm coming around on him just doing this review. Yeah, holding him up, looking wide and posed like that. He's pretty cool. Alright guys, so to finish off, let's do a ranking of this wave. And this is such a funny wave that I think really goes from garbage to great. Like, there's the full spectrum here. We can almost use this as a grading system for other things. So lowest of the low for me, unfortunately, is Hologram Iron Man. This dude's going to be warming pegs for years to come. Get ready to see a lot of him, because no one's going to want this fella. Prove me wrong, world. Maybe when this figure's worth $100 in a year's time, people can go like, ha ha, how wrong were you, Dave? Yeah, whatever. I got no time for this guy. Sorry. Now, after him, we have the Vault Guardsman. So much that I was anticipating for this guy, even knowing that he was going to be relatively plain. But then so many, like, defects and QC things, and just disappointing with a tiny little pistol that I think doesn't really fit and suit him. Nah, this was a real shame. Again, 2 disappointing figures. Next up, we have Darkstar, and at least there's no QC issues with this one. She's a decent. Well, I say that, and then a little bit of paint chipping, paint missing on the glove there. That's a shame. Is that where? Yeah. Let's just kind of rub that off. It looks like, yeah, that's not going anywhere. Anyway, yeah. So there you go. She's very meh. She looks as excited about herself as I am for her. So yeah, with the hair limiting any articulation, not great. Okay, now we're moving up a little bit, but surprisingly I thought this would be my figure of the wave, but we have Modular Iron Man, and of course QC issues is what's limiting this for me, with the stuck shoulder and the wobbly legs. But at the same time, like, I'm judging this figure by the quality of it, and that encompasses everything, including literally the quality of the figure, and it's not quality that I would want. It just feels a little cheap in hand. Like, he looks good at a glance. He looks good with his repulsor blasts. That helps. You can pose him and he'll look cool. That's what I'll do. I'll pose him in a cool pose, and that's fine, but it's still a little bit of a letdown. Then above him we have Stealth Iron Man, which was a real shocker and a surprise. Was not expecting this to be as good as it was, with the Tony head and the beautiful oily bluey black paint job with the red really standing out there and the red repulsor blast. This is such a surprise. I really love this guy. Then right behind, or in front of him, we have Ursa Major with the huge big claws, the gnashing teeth. This is more like it. Wow, actually this wave picks up really fast towards the end. Thank goodness. So yeah, I dig Ursa Major. He's a fun one. Then for the top two, first of all, we have Rubi Williams. I like the head sculpt. That's a big one. With or without the helmet, both of those look great. Then the rest of the sculpting on the body, I think it's just really nice. With female characters, they're always, I'm grade them on a bit of a curve because I like the chunkier, bigger figures where just by the very nature they're going to be smaller and more spindly. But I think they did a great job with her. I love the expression, the hair, the style, the design. This is my favorite Iron Man suit design as well, in the Tony Stark form. So this one, she gets a lot of credit. And finally, my favorite figure is Retro Ultron, which there's not a huge amount going on here, but what is here is really nice. The Kirby Crackle definitely like jumps him up a lot. It's only such a tiny simple thing, but it just looks like he's come straight off the comic book page into all of our hearts. So the Kirby Crackle and the great head sculpt, pure Avengers, pure 60s, 70s Avengers. So I really love that. I'd love another version as well with that's like a bigger, more modern and imposing, but for a classic retro, that does the job terrifically. And guys, that was my review of the Ursa Major Wave. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a long time in coming, and now that I've got it, it's got some ups and downs and some creamy middles. But now, as we always do with Marvel Legends, we just start anticipating the next wave. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you want to go one step further in supporting the channel, you can go over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior. Throw a few shekels my way. It helps keep the lights on, and you can enjoy some of the exclusive videos that we have on there, such as the Legends Legacy review, all of the live streams that I do, video and movie reviews, and all points in between. So folks, thanks for supporting the channel, thanks for checking all those out, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Chill.
Of building kind of a model behavior sort of community, then go and check out. Am I going to keep this in the video? No, I'm definitely going to edit this now. All the different creative. I'm just going to start this freaking thing again. This is a words are hard. It currently is. I currently represent the. Ooh, why am I screwing up so much? This is not as easy as I make it look.
Cup of coffee. Big time.